GamingBolt presents 15 greatest one-on-one fights in video games. We've said enough about boss fights that can make a game worthwhile, but not every fight has to be a huge, overwhelming encounter. Sometimes the most memorable battles can be one-on-one, as two entities fight to the death. The emotional levity and highly personal nature of these fights make them worth checking out, so let's take a look at 15 of the greatest one-on-one fights in video games. Old Snake vs. Liquid Ocelot, Metal Gear Solid 4. Though their entwined fates were made obvious in Metal Gear Solid 1, the sheer history behind Solid Snake's battle with Liquid Ocelot is the stuff of legend. Their battle finally comes to a head in Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots. The war may be over, but the two continue to battle, transitioning from an emotional cutscene to an actual duel in gameplay. And to top it all off, the classic Metal Gear encounter music begins to play. KIRYU vs. NISHIKI, YAKUZA KIWAMI. Like many YAKUZA titles, it would seem that the fight between Kazuma Kiryu and Akira Nishiki is pretty straightforward. However, it's a lot more personal than that, starting with Nishiki killing Kiryu's boss, resulting in the latter going to jail. The tension between the former friends reaches a boiling point in Millennium Tower. Throughout the long, hard fight, we see flashbacks of better times, as if both men are pondering for just a moment how things became this way. Ryo vs. Chai, Shenmue. There aren't many fights that will challenge you in the original Shenmue, until Chai Take shows up. The first battle in the arcade is annoying enough, but it's the climactic boss fight at the end that forces you to go all virtual fighter and beat Chai to a pulp. Oh, and don't forget to not mess up that QTE at the end, rapid fire though it may be. Batman vs. Deathstroke, Batman Arkham Origins. As far as first-time encounters go, the first Arkham series battle between the Dark Knight and Deathstroke in Batman Arkham Origins is kind of straightforward. There isn't an epic fight scene like the initial trailer, and it boils down to succeeding in QTEs. Nevertheless, it does capture the feeling of a Twitch battle with Deathstroke, where you have to be on point at all times.
First Lady, what are you?
SORA vs. SEPHIROTH, Kingdom Hearts 2. If you thought Sephiroth was annoying in Final Fantasy, you haven't fought him in Kingdom Hearts. Carrying on from the first game, Kingdom Hearts 2 sees Sephiroth returning in another 1v1 battle. That's right, no Goofy or Donald to help you out with drive forms or team-ups. It also doesn't help that one combo from Sephiroth can kill you immediately, or that he becomes stronger and faster as the fight wears on. Travis vs. Henry, No More Heroes. The finale between Travis and Henry, two brothers caught in an endless battle, may not make much sense. Then again, the underlying theme of No More Heroes isn't too obvious as Travis continues to fight, seeking paradise even as his hands get bloodier. Henry, in a way, is his brother's savior, here to help him find that exit he so desires, even if that means both of their deaths. Or being memorialized in a museum, something like that.
Are you telling me that you and her...
Oh, come on.
But Travis, my brother, we're similar in many ways. You're right. Suddenly you being my brother doesn't sound so awkward. Let me ask you, how do you plan to put an end to all of this?
Wait a sec. You want me to tie up all these loose ends? I don't think so.
You're the protagonist. I'm just a cool, handsome foil who happens to be your twin brother. Hate to say it, but it's your job.
I want to bail, but where the hell's the exit? There's no way out, is there? No getting out, right, bro?
That's right. All we can do is keep running.
Then let's find that exit they call paradise. Let's go!
Nathan Drake vs. RAFE, Uncharted 4. RAFE isn't quite the smarmy jerk in Uncharted 4 A Thief's End, but it does make sense that he'd be your final opponent. After all, RAFE hasn't worked much for anything in life while Nathan Drake has scratched and clawed to survive. Couple this with Sam trapped under debris, seemingly at risk of dying, and you've got quite the sword fight. Nadine's fight may have been more hard-hitting, but the stakes couldn't have been higher for this climactic final scene.
Now that's the Nathan Drake I hear so much about. All right.
We're done here. I'm taking my brother and we're leaving. You want to stay in Bourne with the ship, you be my guest.
You got me. You know what, Nate? Underneath all the bravado, you're just a sad little boy with delusions of grandeur. Who, by the way, can't fence for shit. So long, Nathan Drake.
Nathan!
You don't know what to give up. That's good. Don't hand it to me. I've had everything handed to me on a goddamn silver platter. I earned this. All of it.
You want the treasure, Rafe? It's all yours. Holy shit.
Jason Bourne versus the Professor, the Bourne Conspiracy. Those who have watched The Bourne Identity will recognize this fight, though the Bourne Conspiracy sees it become much more involved and action-packed. Jason Bourne starts by scrambling across the snowscape to reach the Professor before engaging in a barn fight, with the barn collapsing no less. This moves to a close quarters battle with all manner of objects, and then outside of the barn as the Professor finally meets his end. TUROK vs. KANE, TUROK 2008. KANE is a real pain in the ass throughout TUROK, and it's only fitting to see TUROK finally get revenge on him. The actual battle is just a series of button presses, but it ultimately leads to Kane's death. What more could you want? Well, the developer also threw in a T-Rex fight after, so there you go. Naked Snake versus the boss, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. No matter what era, this one-on-one battle will stand the test of time. There's simply too much brevity in it. From the boss training Snake and subsequently betraying her country, to Snake having one more chance to take her down after having been bested multiple times before. With Cynthia Harrell's Snake Eater playing in the background, a poetic meadow, and an unforgettable climax, the boss's legacy will live on even in death. Kratos vs. Zeus, God of War 3. This was it. Game after game of being messed with by Zeus, Kratos finally comes face to face with his father. The battle itself is varied, starting from a 2.5D sequence that could put Mortal Kombat to shame with its gore to a traditional duel between deities at the heart of Gaia. Zeus attempting to overcome Kratos with fear ultimately leads to the bloody first-person battle that we know and love. Geralt vs. EREDIN, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. When you talk about history between two foes, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's final battle against EREDIN is chock full of it. From Geralt's attempt to rescue Ciri, to mixing in with the Wild Hunt, losing his memories and subsequently warring with him to protect Ciri, Geralt finally comes face to face with EREDIN, the Wild Hunt's king. The battle itself isn't really the finale, but to see EREDIN finally dead after all of his trickery is satisfying. It's kind of weird that, of all of the decisions made, Jayden is the one with the big duel with Shelby, but we'll roll with it. As Ethan tends to Sean, Shelby and Jayden venture up to a crane and battle in the harsh rain. Heavy rain, one could say. Even better, if you decide not to save Shelby, you can watch him fall to his death before being shredded. Who says there's no such thing as a happy ending?
Save me?
Starkiller vs. Darth Vader, Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2. The Force Unleashed was definitely not the best Star Wars story ever told, and The Force Unleashed 2 is no better. However, the second's ending's duel with Darth Vader felt more personal and angry, not to mention more difficult. The fact that the story could diverge so strongly depending on which side you chose further added to the intrigue. NOCTIS vs. ARDYN, Final Fantasy XV. For final boss ARDYN, this battle is destiny and no small amount of revenge for events that occurred millennia ago. For NOCTIS, emerging into a dystopic world filled with demons, this represents his final coming of age and accepting his role as the true king. This battle is in stark contrast to many previous Final Fantasy games, as NOCTIS fights ARDYN one-on-one, and even in victory there isn't quite the happy ending you'd expect.
That is how you would end it.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.